Hey y'all, welcome back to Nature to Nurture, simply caring for our children. Before we dive in today, I want to say something. If you have not yet listened to episode 52, I would encourage you to start off there. We spent almost 40 minutes talking about why so many of us feel on all of the time. Why our bodies stay alert, why rest doesn't actually feel restorative, and why safety matters so much for both children and adults. That episode is really the foundation for today's conversation, but if you are here because you are ready for the practical side of it, you are in the right place. Today, I want to talk to you about what happened next. Not what I learned, not what I read, not another framework. I want to talk to you about what actually helped my body to start believing me. And I need to start with something that surprised me. For a long time, I know that my body was communicating with me. I just wasn't very good at listening. And it's not because I didn't care, and it's not because I was ignoring it on purpose. I simply thought that being tired was normal. I thought that being overwhelmed was normal. That carrying a lot was normal. And honestly, I think that many of us think the same thing. Especially caregivers, especially parents, especially people who really care deeply about other people. I know that you are used to carrying things, that you're used to solving the problems and pushing through. Until one day, your body starts to speak a little bit louder. And for me, one of the places that I actually noticed it first was my feet. I know it sounds strange, but it's true. My feet hurt a lot. And it wasn't because I had injured them, and it was not because I had some big major medical issue. My feet were just tired. And when I look back at it now, I really do believe that they were telling me something, because my feet were carrying exactly what the rest of me was carrying. Too much. At the time, I kept telling myself what I think many of us tell ourselves. I'll rest later. I'll slow down after this project. I'll take care of myself in the next season. I will get caught up and I will breathe later. The problem is that life doesn't really work like that. There's always another project. There's always another season, another responsibility, another thing that needs your attention, and the body keeps on communicating. Sometimes through exhaustion, sometimes through tension, or through irritability, sometimes through brain fog, and sometimes through simply feeling overwhelmed by things that never used to overwhelm you. You see, the body is always communicating. The question is whether we're listening. And then we went to Hawaii. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, go back, take a listen. But if you have heard me talk about that trip before. And it's not because Hawaii magically fixed everything, because it didn't. Life was still waiting when I got home. The responsibilities were still there, the work was still there, the laundry still existed, and the dishes somehow still found their way into the sink. What Hawaii gave me wasn't a solution. It gave me space. Enough space to actually hear what my body had been saying all along. And when we came home, something surprised me. It wasn't how good that it felt when we were in Hawaii. It was how different I felt when I returned. For the first time in a really long time, I had had enough distance to notice everything that I had been carrying. Yes, physically, definitely physically, but also mentally, emotionally, responsibly, all of that holding, all of that awareness, the constant tracking of what needed to happen next. And what really surprised me was realizing that nobody had actually asked me to carry all of it. Somewhere along the way, I had simply become really good at picking things up, the problems, the projects, the responsibilities, the expectations, all of the outcomes, other people's needs, other people's emotions. And I think that many of us, we do that too, without even realizing it. And it's because we care. It's because we're capable. It's because we are the responsible ones. And we want things to go well. But eventually, there comes a point where the nervous system starts asking a different question. It's not, can I carry more? Instead, we ask, do I have to? That question right there changed so much for me because once I started paying attention, I noticed something. The things that helped me feel better, they weren't giant life changes. They were not these dramatic transformation. They were these small signals that I repeated over and over again. These small little experiences that slowly taught my body, oh, you're listening now. You don't have to shout anymore. And that's what I want to share with you today. 5 signals that helped my body to begin trusting me again. And it's not because they're magic, it's not because they're perfect, but it's because they are real. And because they might help you notice what your body has been trying to tell you too. The first signal that I noticed was rhythm. It wasn't schedules, it wasn't productivity. It was not becoming one of those people who color codes every minute of their day. Although I do have a color-coded Google Calendar, it's actually the rhythm. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you've heard me say this before. It's always rhythm over rigidity. But I understand that phrase a little bit more differently than I did a few years ago. Because what I've come to realize is that rhythm isn't just helpful. It's reassuring, and it's a signal for safety. The body likes to know what it can count on, and children do too. Think about what happens when a child knows what's coming next. They know that there's a bedtime story. They know that you're going to come back after work. They know that dinner happens around the same time. They know what to expect, and their little body is able to relax. Not because everything's perfect, but because it becomes predictable. And I know adults need that too. For me, it wasn't some elaborate morning routine. It was a lot more simpler than that. It was a morning walk, adding in some strength training, a little bit of coffee outside, and taking the time to walk around our property, to feed our chickens, to enjoy the small things, the simple things, the things that happened every day and often enough that my body started to actually trust them and expect them. And it's not because they actually solved all of my problems. It's because they reminded my nervous system that life wasn't just made up of me producing, doing, and holding all of these responsibilities. These little actions, they were my anchors. They were the moments that I could count on. They were the moments that filled up my cup. I think that's really an important distinction. We're not trying to control life. We're trying to create enough consistency so that the body can show up and stop anticipating a chaos all the time. So I want to ask you something. What's one rhythm your body can count on right now? Not the rhythm that you wish you had. What's the one that exists today? Maybe it's when you're having your morning coffee. Maybe it's that you take an evening walk, or maybe it's reading that bedtime story with your kiddo. Could be eating dinner together, or sitting on the porch for 5 minutes after work, or even just the car ride home. Start there. The nervous system loves consistency way more than it loves intensity. The second signal that I want you to pay attention to that I noticed was support. And this one hit me harder because I didn't realize how much of my identity had actually really become intertwined to carrying things. Not just helping, but carrying. That's a huge difference. And I didn't actually understand it until I started paying attention. One of the things that I noticed over the last year is how often I actually felt responsible for outcomes that weren't mine. A meeting doesn't go well. A project gets delayed. Someone doesn't follow through. Someone else is upset. Someone needs help. And somehow I would find myself carrying all of it. And it's not because anybody asked me to do it. It's simply because I cared. Maybe you've done this too. I know as parents we do it. As caregivers we definitely do it. And as community members we do it too. As people who care deeply, we often assume responsibility for things that never really were ours to hold. And eventually, our nervous system starts believing that everything depends on us and it might just crumble. And that's exhausting because no human was ever designed to carry the weight of an entire community or a family or a workplace or an organization on their own. We were not built for that. We were built for connection and cooperation. We were built for shared responsibility. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons that so many people really are feeling overwhelmed right now is because we're trying to do individually what humans are meant to do collectively. My mother-in-law says something that has stayed with me. She's talked many times about how grateful she is that her grandchildren know security, that they know where they'll sleep, that they'll be fed, that someone will show up, that they know who their people are. And every time she says it, I'm reminded that safety isn't independence. Safety is knowing you don't have to carry everything alone. That's true for children, and it's true for adults too. And one of the most healing things that I have learned and hold deeply is that support isn't weakness. It's biology. The nervous system settles when it knows that help is available. And it's not because we are incapable. It is because we are human. So here's the question I've been sitting with. What are you carrying right now that was never meant to be carried alone? Not what can you get rid of, not what can you avoid, but what are you carrying alone that was actually meant to be shared? And sometimes asking that question can change everything. Try it, sit with yourself, write something down, take a voice note, send yourself a message. When I started rebuilding rhythm and allowing more support into my life, something happened. I was able to notice where my body was able to relax and release. Not where it was productive, not where it had achieved something new, but where it softened. And almost every time, it happened outside. Now, I said it happened outside. It didn't happen during some epic backpacking trip or standing on top of a mountain or during a long week of vacation. It just happened outside. It happened when I was walking around my house or checking on the garden or feeding the chickens, when I was sitting on the porch after I did my chores, when I was watching the sunset, as I was getting home from gymnastics practice, casting a fishing line into the water with one of my favorite activities, or simply taking my laptop outside instead of sitting at a desk inside with those horrible lights on top of you. It was simple things. It was ordinary things. It was the kind of moments that are easy to dismiss because they don't look like you're being productive. And that's why I think they matter. Because I know for myself, for so much of my life, I measured whether something was valuable by whether it was productive. Was I accomplishing something? Was I moving a project forward? Was I helping someone? Was I checking something off of a list? But nature doesn't play that game. The sunset doesn't care how productive you've been, and the trees don't care how many emails you have answered, and the birds are not grading your performance. Thank goodness, because I love what they provide. And maybe that's part of the gift. For a few minutes, the body gets to exist without needing to earn its place. That reminds me. We went out on a camping trip, and one of our friends with us said he's so excited he really deserved this. And it got me thinking, and I really asked, I said, why do you have to deserve this? Why do you have to deserve the opportunity to come and experience this beauty and to take a break? I think that children, they understand this. We watch them do it all the time. A child who is bouncing off the walls inside suddenly settles outside, and they start digging or exploring or watching bugs, throwing rocks into the water, building something out of sticks. They're not trying to regulate, and they're not thinking about their nervous system. They simply are responding to an environment that asks less of them. And not only does it ask less of them, but they feel that's where they should be. It's not that they have deserved outside time, right? And honestly, adults need that. It's not because nature magically fixes everything, because it doesn't. The work is still there. The bills you have to pay, the laundry you still have to fold or hang, and life is still lifing. But your body gets to respond differently, and your nervous gets to be gentler, and your pace gets to change, and the demands decrease. And for a moment, even if it's just a small moment, your body gets to remember something. And I think that's one of the reasons why I am consistently drawn back to outside. It's not just an escape. It helps me to come back to myself. And I wonder if you've experienced that too. Maybe it's not while you're fishing or in the mountains. Maybe it's simply sitting in your backyard or taking a walk around the block or drinking your coffee outside before everyone wakes up. Maybe you get to watch your child play at the park. The location matters less than the experience. The experience is, for a moment, nothing is asking anything for me. Oof. Nothing, no one is asking anything from me. That's powerful. The fourth signal that my body noticed was nourishment. And I don't mean nutrition in the way that people usually talk about it. I mean listening. One of the things that I've learned by working with Chandler is that I had become very disconnected with my own signals. And it's not because I didn't care about my health. It was because I'd gotten really good at overriding myself. Example, are you hungry? You'll have time later. Are you tired? Just push through. Do you need a break? Finish one more thing first. Need support? Nope, you can handle it yourself. Need some rest? Well, you better earn it. And somewhere along the way, I really truly started treating my body like an employee, a production, a factory, instead of a partner. And that realization right there, it hit me hard. My body has been so loyal to me. It has continued to show up and carry me and adapt. And I kept finding ways to keep on going with it But instead of listening to my body, I kept on demanding more energy, more productivity, more output, more resilience. But remember, the body, it doesn't need perfection. It just needs attention. And so when my body started speaking to me, it was telling me, you need more water, you need more protein, you need more sleep, you need more movement, more sunlight, you need more rest. It's not because we're trying to optimize ourselves. No, it's because our body is trying to support us. That is a super different conversation in itself, and it's one that often comes from criticism. This conversation comes from care. And children are really great teachers on this topic. When a child is struggling, we usually don't tell them, just try harder. We ask them, are you tired? Are you hungry? Do you need a hug? How can I help you? Somehow we offer children that compassion while often denying it to ourselves. But what if we started extending some of that curiosity inward? And what if we asked ourselves, what does my body need today? Not next month, not when everything is done, but today. The final signal was being seen. And honestly, that one surprised me the most. Because some of the biggest shifts over the last year, they did not happen because I found a solution. They happened because I had conversations. Conversations with people who could see me, people who could reflect something that I was saying back to me, people who could remind me of the things that I had forgotten. There were moments when I didn't need advice, I didn't need a strategy, I didn't need a plan. I simply needed someone to say, that sounds heavy. You've been carrying a lot, and I can see why you're tired. And isn't that what we offer children when we sit beside them, when we help them name what they're feeling, when we remind them why they're not alone? We help them make sense of their experience. And as adults, we need that too. I know we need that. Dan Siegel talks about the importance of feeling felt. I love that phrase. Feeling felt. Not fixed, not managed, not judged, but understood. And sometimes the nervous system settles because nothing has changed externally, but it settles because someone finally understood. Because someone finally saw what was underneath, and because for a moment, we didn't have to carry it alone. Being engaged with the Luna Jimenez Institute for Social Transformation really was an amazing experience. I was able to take the course, What Happened to Us. And like that right there was something that was so powerful for me because it was not trying to fix, but it was listening to this little girl inside of me that was talking and speaking up. When I think about this last year, I don't think what changed was that my life got easier. It did not. It wasn't that the responsibilities disappeared, because they did not. And the work did not disappear either. And the laundry still exists. Trust me, I've backed up on a couple of loads right now. The kids are still needing things. You see, what changed is that I'm listening sooner. My body doesn't have to shout out so loudly anymore because I'm paying attention when it whispers. And that's the invitation right there. Not to become someone new, not to create a perfect life, not to optimize every single part of your day. Simply to listen and to notice and to choose one signal, one small way of telling your body, I hear you. I'm paying attention. I am here for you. Because safety, it's not something that we are just going to find. It is something that we have to build. One experience at a time, one rhythm, and one conversation. Take a walk outside. Grab a moment of support from a friend. Choose one act of nourishment one reminder that you do not have to carry it all alone. And that's what we're building for our children too. It's not perfect lives or perfect homes or perfect parents, but it's trust and connection and belonging and that repeated experience of knowing you matter. You, my child, are supported. You are safe. And if we can give that to ourselves too, as adults, as our inner child, our children get to watch what that looks like. Can you imagine your children getting to see their parent love and be loved and be felt and be seen and be supported and be nourished? Thank you so much for taking the time to stick through it all with me here today. If episode 52 helped you understand why safety matters, I hope that this episode helped you to see that you're probably already building more safety than you actually realize. And if someone came to mind while you were listening today, go ahead and share this episode with them. You know that they need it. I have a feeling that there are a lot of people out there who are carrying a lot more than they need to carry right now. And next week, we're going to talk about something that completely changed how I think about exhaustion. The difference between rest and recovery. Because I know that many of us, we're taking breaks, but we're not feeling rested. And there's a reason for that. But until then, step outside if you can and choose one signal. Trust that small things matter. And remember, you were never meant to carry all of this alone. I'll talk with you soon.